Today we are diving into the world of SSH, or Secure Shell, the powerful tool that lets you securely access and manage remote system with ease. Whether you are a sysadmin, developer, or just a curious techie, SSH is your gateway to seamless remote control. Stay tuned as we explore how SSH can revolutionize the way you work with Linux. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to IT and Automation. SSH is a powerful tool for remote management and secure connections. Whether you are a beginner or looking to enhance your SSH skills, this video has you covered. We will be covering about SSH basics, installation, configuration, and common commands for SSH, so make sure you watch this video till the end to master your skills on SSH. First, let's understand what is SSH. SSH stands for Secure Shell. It is a cryptographic network protocol for operating network services securely over an unsecured network, meaning SSH is a way to securely exchange data over a computer network, and the data that is exchanged is encrypted. It's like a super secure tunnel that lets you log into another computer remotely over the network. It is commonly used for remote login, secure file transfer, and executing commands on remote machines. How SSH works. So if you look into this picture, first client initiates the connections by contacting the server, and the server responds with its public key. Both the client and server negotiate algorithm to use for the sessions, and the user can log into the server host operating system. So let's look into more detail about how SSH works in the next slide. Initiating a connection. The SSH client initiates a connection to the SSH server using the command SSH user at hostname. The server responds with its public key and a list of supported encryption algorithms. Algorithm negotiation. Here the client and server agree on the encryption, hashing, and compression algorithm to use for the session. Authentication. There are two types of authentication: password-based authentication and key-based authentication. We'll look into both types of authentication in the lab later. So in password-based authentication, the server prompts the client for a username and password. The server verifies the password. If it matches, the user is authenticated. And in the key-based authentication, the client generates a pair of keys, public and private, using SSH-keysgen. The client's public key is added to the server's authorized key files, which is located inside home directory .sh on authorize_keys file. The server sends an encrypted challenge using the client's public key, established a secure session. The client and server use the Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm to generate a shared secret session key. The Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm is a method used to securely exchange cryptographic keys over a public channel. It enables two parties, each with their own private key, to jointly establish a secure secret key, which can then be used for encrypted communication. The session key is used to encrypt all data transmitted between the client and the server. Data transmission. The client can execute commands on the remote server. Client can also do secure file transfer, can be done using SCP or SFTP. SSH can also tunnel other network services through its encrypted connection. Terminating the connection. The session ends when the client logs out or the connection is terminated, closing the secure channel. This process ensures that all data sent between the client and the server is encrypted, protecting it from eavesdropping and tampering. Installing SSH. SSH comes in two parts, the client and the server. Most Linux distributions have the SSH client installed by default. If it's not installed, then you can install using command sudo apt install OpenSSH-client, OpenSSH-server in Ubuntu or Debian Linux, and sudo yum install OpenSSH-clients, OpenSSH-server in Red Hat based Linux like CentOS and Rocky Linux. We'll look into this later in the lab as well. Starting and enabling SSH service. If SSH client and server are installed by default, then these services are already running into your system. If not, we can manually check the status and run it if it's not running. To start SSH service in Ubuntu or Debian Linux, we use command sudo systemctl start SSH. To enable it, we use command sudo systemctl enable SSH. Enable will allow the machines to start the service even after the reboot. See, if we don't enable SSH service, then we won't be able to run SSH services after the machine reboot. So make sure you always enable it. Again, all the services come enabled by default on most of the Linux distribution. To check if the service is running or not, we use command sudo systemctl status SSH. To start SSH service in Red Hat based Linux, we use command sudo systemctl start sshd. To enable it, we use command sudo systemctl enable sshd, and to check the status, we use command sudo systemctl status sshd. Now, as you have learned some basics about SSH, let's do some practical example for SSH. So I have opened Rocky Linux on this terminal and Debian 12 on another terminal. So we will SSH from Debian 12 to Rocky Linux. First of all, we will need IP address for the target host. For that, we can run IP commands such as IPA or IPADDR and copy the IP address of the target host. So the IP address for Rocky Linux is 192.168.2.147. So let's copy this. Now let's go back into the Debian host and let's SSH into Rocky Linux using command ssh user at hostname. In our case is ssh rocky, which is a username, at IP address, and hit enter. When you try to log in for the first time, it will ask you to save fingerprint key. Type S and it will ask for the password. Give the password for the target host and hit enter. And you should be able to log into your server. In our case, it's Rocky Linux. You can run command cat hcos release to check more. As you can see, the name, version and other informations are here. So this is how you access into the remote server using username and the password. As you have looked into password based SSH connection, now let's look into key based SSH connection or the passwordless SSH connection. So let's go back into the Debian host again. We can exit it from Rocky Linux. So we are back into the Debian 12 host. Let's clear this screen. For added security, you can use SSH key-based authentication instead of password. So for that, first we need to generate a SSH key pair and copy the public key to the server. To generate SSH key, use command ssh-keygen. It will ask you to save the path. You can hit enter. It will now ask you if you want to enter any passphrase for the key. You can enter passphrase if you like to make it more secure, but for this demo I will leave it blank. If you have used password, then type your passphrase again to verify it. We haven't used any passphrase, so we'll just type it as a blank. Now your private and public key is generated. To check, use command ls-al. This command will list any files or directory, including hidden files or directory. As you can see, .ssh directory is generated here. In Linux, any directory means it's a hidden directory, and to see hidden directory you have to use -a flag. We'll also discuss more about it in the upcoming videos, so please make sure you like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Now let's go into this SSH directory. To go inside this directory, we use command cd, which means change directory. We are now inside .ssh directory and execute ls command to check the content inside this directory. As you can see, id_rsa, which is a private key, and id_rsa.pub, which is a public key. Now we need to copy the public key into the target host where we want to establish our connection. In our case, we will do it from Debian 12 to Rocky Linux. To copy, we use command ssh-copy-id username at hostname. So in our case is ssh-copy-id, username is Rocky, and at the IP address of the hostname, which is 192.168.2.147. It will ask for the password for the remote host. Enter the password and your public key will be saved in the remote host. Now you should be able to log into remote host without a password. Also, you can also see in the screen which says Now try logging into the machine with SSH Rocky at 192.168.2.147, which is the IP address of our Rocky Linux. Now let's try to log in into the remote host using key-based authentication. SSH Rocky at 192.168.2.147 and hit enter. There we go. We have successfully logged into the remote server without a password. Now let's look into more advanced features of SSH. That is, we will be using config file for SSH. To create config file, first go inside the SSH directory. So let's create config file here using vi editor. That is vi config and hit enter. Now we can define SSH configuration here. First we give the name of the host. Then give the host name. So in our case we give the host IP for the remote host, which is hostname 192.168.2.147 and the path for the private key. Please note that in Linux, tilde sign refers to the home directory of the user and the username. Save and quit the file using escape :WQ, which means write and quit. Now as we have saved the config file here, now we can access into the remote host using our config file that we recently configured. Run command SSH and the remote host name which we have given in the config file before, which is Rocky-Linux, and hit enter. SSH Rocky-Linux and you will be able to log in now. As you can see, we have logged in into the Rocky Linux using the config file, which is one of the best method to SSH into the remote server. You can add as many remote hosts you would like into the config file and make the SSH login much easier and simple for you to log in. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching this video till the end. If you found this video useful, then please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to us. Take care and I will see you in the next video.